everyone, welcome to my last sage advice. So today we're going to talk about two herbs that are fairly simple to grow. The first one is dill, which looks kind of like this. And of course, dill is great for pickles and all that. And the second one we're going to talk about are chives, which grow the nice little green leafy stalks with the purple flowers on top. So dill is a rather tall herb, actually. So you want to make sure that you have plenty of room to grow dill when you have it in your garden. It gets large seed heads that turn yellow as they age. And it's usually a self-seeding herb. Now, people consider it an annual because if you want a good harvest, you should probably plant new seeds yearly. So dill can self-seed if you let it go to seed in your garden, and it could very well come back the next year. But in order to have a good, for sure crop, you're most likely wanting to plant seeds yourself. Now, dill does not transplant very well, so I would recommend sowing it directly in your garden. Even though we are attempting to grow some seedlings in the house with some of the other herbs, dill is not one that I would try. I'm gonna wait until the soil gets nice and warm, and then you can go ahead and plant it directly in a nice place in your garden. It's even good to grow dill in flower beds because it's such a tall herb. You can plant it towards like the back of your flower bed, and then it will grow with the shorter flowers in front, and actually it'll look quite nice. So I really recommend that. So what is dill good for? Besides making fantastic pickles, it's good for your bone health. So putting dill in salads or on your cucumbers is actually good for your bones. It's also used often to freshen breath, which I did not know. And like all the other herbs we've been discussing, it's definitely full of vitamins, especially A and C. So lots of benefits there. Now, remember, dill grows tall, so it needs good soil that it can cling to. And it could also use stakes sometimes to support it, depending on how heavy your flower tops get. It's ready to harvest once the little flowerlets at the top, the umbrella shape, start to turn light yellow. And fresh dill can be used in all kinds of things like marinades and dressings and other cold dishes. Again, it's perfect for pickling and other canned recipes. And the recipe I've included in the kit for you today is a creamy cucumber salad that you make with sour cream and fresh dill. So I hope you pick up some seeds. The dill seeds are kind of small. They're not as tiny as some of the other seeds we've dealt with. So they should be fairly easy to plant. But again, you want to wait until the soil is warm in your yard and you can plant directly rather than growing seedlings in the house. So the last herb I'm going to talk to you about is chives. And it's by far my favorite herb to grow. It's so easy. Even the most novice gardener, I think, can handle growing chives. Plus, they taste delicious, so that's that benefit. But anyway, chives, again, they are kind of like green onions. They're a long, skinny green stalk, or it's actually the leaf. And then they have these purple flowers on top, which the flowers are actually edible, and they're quite bitter, but a lot of people like to add them to salads and things. As well as the green part. So it's really a useful plant. They grow to be about 12 to 24 inches tall, depending on the variety. And there's two different kinds. There's regular chives, and there's also a garlic chive. So a regular chive will have more of an oniony, slight oniony flavor. It's not very strong, and I think that's why I like it. Garlic chives are much stronger and more of a garlicky taste. But they're both very simple and similar in terms of how to grow them and harvest them. They're perennials. So if you have a good crop or a good base plant, established in your garden, it's gonna come back every year no matter what. It's very, very hardy, easy to grow herb. The health benefits of chives, they're plentiful. It's high in vitamin A, C, K, calcium and magnesium, lots of great potassium in chives. So even just adding a little bit of fresh chives to your food, there can be some real health benefits there. The other thing that's great about chives is because they have those nice purple flowers on top, they attract pollinators. And so that helps your garden in many, many ways, helps the world in many ways. We want those pollinators to come. So chives are also great for digestion, I guess. They helps your body digest all those foods. So now, you can start chives from seeds, obviously, and you can attempt to do it indoors. The thing about seedlings for chives is they grow very, very slowly. So if you start indoors, start now because you're gonna need some time for them to grow. I already have a very well-established patch in my yard of chives and in my garden, so I don't want to start any new seeds this year. They will come back just fine. And I find that transplanting, just taking a chunk of a current plant growing somewhere, you just dig a little out, separate it, make sure you've got a good root base on that plant chunk. Transplanting those to make a new patch of chives works much easier than planting the little tiny seeds. That's just my preference, but of course, you gotta start from somewhere, so seeds might be the way to go. You just wanna make sure that it's a good hardy plant when you transplant it. You want good soil, they want full sun, and damp soil, but not standing water. Again, real wet, swampy, low spots in your yard are not good for gardens because it'll cause root rot. So make sure that your plants get plenty to drink, but they're not sitting in a big puddle. If you are not looking to eat the flowers or you're not looking to propagate your own seeds, I would highly recommend trimming off the seed heads, so those purple flowers, when they start to grow, and that will help your chive plant establish itself more. When any plant is growing, if you remove the flowers, it forces the leaves and stems and other parts of the plant to grow stronger. So it's not wasting energy on those flowers. And it's real easy to use chives. You just snip a little off the top of the green stems. There will be some stalks that are more hardy, woody like. Those are not the part of the chives you want to eat. You want to eat the green leaves, and you still want to leave enough growth that it can grow more. So just trim some off the top whenever you need to use it, dice it up and add it to whatever dish you're serving. The plant will keep producing just fine. And so chives can be dried or frozen, just like any other herb we've talked about for later use. But I really like them fresh. I think that's the easiest way, best way. Just walk out to your garden, snip some off, rinse them off, chop them up and add them to whatever you're eating. And the recipe that I have for you to go with the chives is a corn and zucchini salad. And it's delicious. You just add your ingredients, mix them all together, add some fresh chives, and it tastes wonderful. So those are 2 herbs for today, and again, they're fairly easy to grow, fairly easy to use. I really hope you give them a try, and if you contact the library, we have seeds for you, so you can go ahead and give it a try and plant your garden. And we'll move on to the next step, which is this month's project. We're going to be making flower seed bombs that you can plant once the ground warms up and make a little flower surprise. So today's project, like I said, is going to be some seed bombs. And seed bombs are very easy to make. there are several different ways to make them. But today I'm going to be making some out of air dry clay. Now air dry clay is pretty simple. Crayola makes the kind that we're going to use today. It's just a crafting clay that does exactly what it says. It dries in the air, so you don't need to bake it in the oven or anything like that. So all I need is a little bit of clay, some damp potting soil, just a little bit. I have a scoop here, and this is definitely more than I need, but easier to do it that way. And then a package of flower seeds. And really, it could be any kinds of seeds you want, but I just chose this flower garden mix because it's fairly simple, and it'll be a surprise what flowers my bombs will have inside them. So the first step is to just knead up your clay. And you want to get a little chunk, I would say maybe about the size of a quarter. And I want to make a nice little ball, because the first thing we're going to do is make a little pinch pot for our soil and our seeds to go inside. So I got a little ball here, and like I said, I'm just going to make little indentations, little divots, in order to have a little tiny pinch pot. Now, you could make really big seed bombs if you wanted to. It really depends on how many you're planning to make, or desiring to make, I guess. But you can see I just pinched my clay until I have a little like bowl shape form. Then, I'm gonna open up my seeds here. And I can see I got a nice little variety in there. And I'm gonna take a little pinch of potting soil. Make sure your soil is damp. You might have to add a little water to it if it's a little dried out. Potting mix can be a little dry. Okay, so I put my little soil in. Then I'm just gonna sprinkle just a couple of seeds inside my pot. They're not too many. Kind of smoosh them down in the soil. And then, very carefully, I'm going to seal my little pot shut. Okay, so that none of the seeds or dirt falls out. It's okay that there's dirt on the outside of my clay here, because it's gonna go in the ground anyway, eventually. If you want your seed bombs to be cleaner, wash your hands first, I guess, before you close it up. But just gonna make sure my little bomb there is fully sealed. Roll it around just a little bit to close it all up. There you go, simple little seed bomb. Now I can stick these probably on a paper plate or something and in the window and just let them dry out for a couple of days. And if the ground is thawed and the weather's warm, I can go ahead and find a spot in the yard, dig a little hole and bury it, kind of like a squirrel buries, an acorn, and just let it grow. You can, of course, put it in a pot or a flower bed and see what happens, but basically gonna let Mother Nature and rain and the moisture in the ground soften the clay up and activate those seeds, and there you have it. Another way to plant seeds in your yard. Like I said, really exciting, kind of fun to make a whole group of these and maybe bag them up in a little gift bag and give them to someone with instructions on how to plant them in their yard. But basically, you're just spreading some natural love. So go ahead and contact the library if you want this month's seed kit. We'll have those dill and chive seeds for you, and we'll also have a little clay and soil and flower seeds so that you can go ahead and make your own seed bombs. Again, real simple. Kids can do this with you. You just put your soil inside and your seeds. Again, there's other ways to make seed bombs. You could also do it with paper. You can make seed paper if you have an old blender. But it's really a fun little project to do in the springtime. And if you mark where you put your seed bombs, you'll remember and see what happens if they start to grow. Or if you want to be totally surprised, just stick them wherever and see what happens. But real simple little project. They'll dry out on their own and you'll spread some seeds. So thank you all for joining me. Hope you enjoyed these sage advice videos and that you get a chance to grow your garden and grow some herbs and use them in your kitchen. I hope you all are well and we'll see you next time. Bye.